All right. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Dave. This is Save America Vote Tulsi Gabbard. Bit of a firestorm because Tulsi Gabbard, again, being the independent-minded person that she is, extending fairness to, oh no, she extended fairness to Joe Biden. Okay, so all the progressives, please jump off the Tulsi train now. Look, this litmus testing on race, and we'll go back 40 years, we'll go back 50 years and find out. I mean, the problem with Joe Biden is he's old, okay? And he's been changing positions as he's, gotten older. I think he was, he was pro-life at one time. He's pro-choice now. I mean, all of these politicians were at one point. They're all pro-traditional marriage, and then they became all pro LGBTQ rights and so forth. They've all had to evolve on these issues for political expediency. And I don't know if they really believe what they believe, but they vote in accord with these constituents, and many times they are special interest groups who put pressure on politicians to change the way they think on an issue. Let's just be honest about it, okay? And those are some of my conservative enzymes that are kind of seeping in to this conversation. But Joe Biden did not celebrate or coddle segregationists. His critics have unfairly misrepresented his important message to score cheap political points. I agree with Clyburn, he's a congressman, right? And Joe Biden. In order for Congress and the president to get things done for the American people, there needs to be civility in Washington and in the country. The ability to work with those who we disagree, even those who hold some views which we abhor. Wow. Okay, so in order for Congress to work for the American people. Okay, so this is going to be a game-changing comment for Tulsi Gabbard and for the people who support her, because they're going to look at this and they're going to say, is she angling for like a VP thing with Joe Biden? No, I don't think so. I think Tulsi Gabbard is a consistent human being. And she says here, even some views which we abhor, which is a very strong word. That's like saying you may hate, despise, and it's aberrant behavior. You look at it and you think to yourself, oh, this is a non-starter. I can't even talk with this person. Okay, we need to get to a point where we are getting things done. And there's a third tweet here, which is bigger for some reason. We need to find common ground with each other. This is not possible without civility. We don't need another president who's going to continue to divide our country. We need a president who will unite us. United we stand, divided we fall. All right, these are concepts that were once this is old school sort of, Democrats and Republicans, they're in the same space. They don't talk to each other. They don't like one another. And I know people are saying, well, is this centrism? No, because Tulsi Gabbard has her opinions. She's just saying, you're throwing out these allegations against Biden, and be warned, doing this against Trump has not been an effective tool to get, say, Trump's popularity down, especially with his base. His base gets more riled up every time you do something like this. And I tell you what, there are a lot of people, Bernie Sanders' old campaign director, manager, something, is now working for Joe Biden. Okay, and she's an African-American woman, and she's put in all these situations where she's got to answer things that Joe Biden did 30 or 40 years ago. I don't think that's fair. I'm a totally different person than I was 30 years ago. It's crazy to keep doing this, to keep litmus testing on these wedge issues all the time. And Tulsi Gabbard is just saying, hey, she's going after Warren and Harris. Those are her two biggest competitors as far as, women running for the presidency. and she's looking at them and saying, you guys keep playing this race card, and it's going to divide the country even more. And this guy, Clyburn, I think is African-American, from South Carolina, right? I don't know, no, there he is, Jim Clyburn. Maybe he's not African-American. I don't know, again, who he is. I can click on this and find out more about him. Representing South Carolina's 6th Congressional District. Okay, he is African-American. All right. So, again, I'm not an expert on every... But if Clyburn, who happens to be black, is agreeing with Joe Biden here, and maybe they're, Biden... Look, how far crazy do we need to keep going on the wedge issues? How far do we go and we keep... because... I've seen some scary stuff, and, this is sort of my re-education on politics, hanging out or watching a lot of the more left-leaning commentary, and it's always jumping down the throat of anyone who doesn't, say all the right things at every moment about race or gender or sexual orientation. It's like most of the American people, all right, I would say, are not tuned in. They're not dialed in to those things. What they're dialed into, for instance, is they can't afford health care. They're dialed into the fact that housing costs are skyrocketing. They're dialed into the fact that, yes, they have a job, but it doesn't pay enough, and they want a living wage. And we could go on and on. They have student loan debt that's crippling their ability to do anything else in life. Okay? And then the fact that, she goes on to defend, this is going to say, oh, it's a dog whistle. She's sending a dog whistle to all of those supporters that she has that we've, and this is just going to connect the dots for these people. They're going to go and write all kinds of, see, we told you so about Tulsi Gabbard. Now she's defending Joe Biden's racism. That's what she's doing. And I've seen people already make comments like, she needs to fix this now. I was going to support her, but she needs to fix it. Look, if you're going to ask Tulsi Gabbard to not be Tulsi Gabbard, then good luck with that. She sees it from every direction, and she defends based on her, ability, her aloha spirit to try to get along with people that she views, right here, she says views which we don't like, which we abhor. All right, in order for Congress to work for the American people. All right, these people don't work for us. What they do is they fight amongst each other, and they divide and conquer based on these issues, which many times, again, I hung out with conservative people for years, and you don't have to believe me, but I never met anyone who was like a closet racist, who would be like, okay, you know what I really think? Dave, what I really think? Because I wouldn't hang around with people like that. I would say, nah, you're going too far. Nah, you're making statements that I can't be your friend. I can't talk to you. Now, this is the mentality now that we have with these candidates who just accuse everybody of being a racist, being a sexist, being a bigot, being a homophobe, all of these things. And eventually it's already tearing at the fabric. And then somebody, then there's the white nationalist thing too, which has become the white supremacist, white nationalist thing. Certain people, I guess, have no hope. They're intrinsically bad because of what color their skin was when they were born. And that's not a starter. That's not a healthy debate for any kind of a meaningful conversation on, say, Medicare for all. Because if you're accusing me just by who I am of being a bigot because of what color skin I have, then this is identity politics, and it's like I say, it's destroying conversation. It's destroying the idea that we can have this debate about these other issues where you could probably pull me over to your side if you make a good argument, but if you say right away, well, I know you're a racist, and I'm just going to be like, huh? Because that's what they teach now. In a lot of these universities, they're teaching that there's an inherent racism that you have just by being who you are. And that's not a way to unite the country. And the further we go down this road, the further the hypersensitivity goes, the more people are going to just shy away from politics altogether. They're going to say, you know what? That's not for me. I just want to live my life. I don't want to bother anybody. I have no ill will toward any group of people, any certain politically correct thing that I'm supposed to say here. If I'm not saying it and screaming it and shouting it, and I'm in agreement with it, like apparently Elizabeth Warren and Kamala Harris are, then, you know, I guess I don't count. I'm not somebody you want to represent. Like I said, it's the same thing with Elizabeth Warren not wanting to go on Fox News. Because, you know, she said, well, they perpetuate hate, and they promote racism. And I'm thinking to myself, they do promote conservatism to some degree. And if you want to equate that with all of those things, then you're making a leap. This is a deplorable thing on steroids. You're saying you're throwing all those people under the bus. Meanwhile, Bernie Sanders goes on the network and he hits it out of the park. And he reaches all of these new people who say, you know what? I like this idea of Medicare for all. I like this idea of no more regime change wars. I like these ideas. But, and you're nice enough to come over here and you didn't call me a bigot or a racist. That's nice. I feel good about you and I would support you for president. But these two are going to rely on supposedly, I blocked Elizabeth Warren. It's awesome. I may unblock her just to hear what she says, but the point being is that I have no interest in Elizabeth Warren as a candidate, and these sorts of things are going to alienate more people who are independents, or, you know, they're Democrats, but they're looking for really the best choice, somebody who's actually going to do policy and not going to do mindless tribalism, which creates more wedge issues and more hatred between people who really shouldn't have anything against one another. But again, this third tweet, we need to find common ground with each other. That is not possible without civility. Amen. I mean, what do you not agree with on that? We don't need another president who's going to continue to divide our country. She understands that one thing we need right now is healing. We need healing. Whether you like Trump or not, he's incredibly divisive, and he doesn't empathize, and he's a bulldozer, and if you don't like what he's bulldozing, what he's doing, then you're not going to find him useful to you as a person. He's just somebody who talks, and you just tune out because you know that he really doesn't care about your daily life. He's more concerned about, you know, looking like he's winning. All right, and Tulsi Gabbard is more concerned about you and me. She doesn't care, but I think Tulsi Gabbard would rather lose on principle than win being a divisive person, you know, like this Kamala Harris or this Elizabeth Warren. Both of them, you know, they're not going to get my votes because, and the fact that they're all for the military-industrial complex. They have little ways to kind of skirt around it. Tulsi Gabbard wouldn't be skirting, she'd be going right at them and saying no more endless and useless wars. You know, Tulsi's different. She's not going to go by your set of preconceived, democratic, Huffington Post approved talking points. She's not going to do it, and that's why I love her. So, that's my video. See ya.